Hey, welcome. It's been a while since I've been on. I don't know if anybody missed me, but I'm back. I'm going to try to do this again regularly. So I'm going to talk about there's been a big, massive layoff at DC Comics. Yeah, so we're going to take a look and see what's going on. Yeah, so there's a massive layoff at DC Comics. A new report indicates that DC Comics and DC Universe is undergoing massive layoffs with multiple high-level executives being let go. The new report from the Hollywood Reporter comes just days after Warner Media CEO Jason Killer explains that he was restricting the company in order to streamline decision-making. Not only did he explain the restructuring was a streamlined decision making, but he also told the Hollywood Reporter, THR, it was going to adapt to market changes. Calera stated, so what these changes are largely about is me feeling very strongly that where a media company should be in terms of the future is to orient themselves as a consumer-oriented company. Then he detailed these changes are representative of polarizing three different things. Number one, a consumer orientation far more than wholesale orientation. Number two, going direct to consumer. And number three, going global. Killer was also asked if there would be layoffs, and he noted there would be. He stated, we're not talking about layoffs specifically, but obviously there'll be layoffs, just given the nature of what we're doing here. Well, it looks like those layoffs came sooner than expected for DC Comics and DC Universe. Former Batman writer Tom King apologizes to DC Comics artist Jay Lee. That's related news. And THR reports that editor-in-chief Bob Harris, senior vice president of publishing strategy and support, Hank Canizales, vice president of marketing and creative services, Jonah Whalen, vice president global publishing incentives and digital strategy, Bobby Chase, senior editor Brian Cunningham, and exclusive editor Mark Doyle were all axed. In fact, they reported that roughly 1/3 of DC's editorial ranks are being laid off, according to sources. A separate report from Bleeding Cool, Rich Johnson, also detailed a number of others who were axed, including editor Andy Coroni, I can't pronounce his name, Jim Lee's exclusive assistant Eddie Cho, international publishing, ad sales, and customs creative studio Sandy Redsnick, marketing director Sarah Haskell. Johnson added that director of publicity Michael Schelling and vice president of comic book specialty news sales Jim Slowetsky has also lost their jobs. Well, DC Comics was specifically hit with THR also adds that insiders also said the majority of the staff of the streaming service DC Universe has been laid off, a move that's been widely expected as Warner Media shifts its focus to a new streaming service, HBO Max. Layoffs also hit DC Direct as well, according to THR's report. As for Jim Lee, it appears he'll remain as the chief creative officer for now. However, Bleeding Cool's Rich Johnson indicates that Lee will eventually transition out of the position. He details that Marie Javins who is the current executive editor at Global Publishing and Digital Strategy, and current vice president and executive editor of DC Young, although Michael Wells, have been promoted to run DC Comics Publishing and will directly report to Jim Lee. As for how this will affect DC Comics lineup, Johnson indicates Batman, Justice League, and Superman will be more likely to continue, as well as their digital line and original graphic novel line. He also notes that DC Comics will put out a greater emphasis on digital and a bookstore, rather than the comic book shop. These layouts come after AT&T CEO Randall Stevenson detailed the company's third quarter conference call with investors back in October 2019 that the company has no sacred cows. Stevenson explained, "We're committed to an objective, diligent, and disciplined process. We analyze the merits of each of our business individually and as part of a whole. Let me be clear, we have no sacred cows." He even indicated that the fat trimming would be on the horizon, he stated. "We have ruthlessly pruned a portfolio of assets that we don't contribute to our core strategy. In fact, when you conclude what we've done in 2019, we have monetized more than $30 billion in non-strategic assets over the few years. You should expect continued evaluation of our business and more progress on diversifying assets that are no longer core to our fundamental mission," he added. More recently, in March, there was speculation that DC Comics might be actually sold off or see its characters licensed to other publishing companies. Motley Fool writer Leo Sun would eventually detail that DC Comics publishing business wasn't worth a lot to AT&T, claiming it only accounted for 0.2% of AT&T's annual revenue, while Sun would write that it doesn't really matter if the company keeps or sells the business. He argued that they would be more likely to keep it because the comic book storylines would still provide valuable fodder for future TV and film projects at Warner Media. So what do you make of these reported massive layoffs at DC Comics? Hey, Sean. Hey, welcome. Glad to see you back in. So what do you think of the DC massive layoffs? Yeah, that's yeah, I guess. Well, it's I was expecting stuff like that, to happen, So there is a thing here about the. I don't know if anybody's seen this one. Wonder Woman 1984 cover. I've seen this on a few other streams and stuff. Artist Robin Eisenberg responds to criticism DC Comics and Rooster Teeth's Wonder Woman in 1984 variant cover. Artist Robin Eisenberg responded to criticism of her DC Comics and Rooster Teeth's Wonder Woman 1984 variant cover. The cover was shared to the DC Nation Twitter on August the 7th. So this is an image of her. I don't know. I've never seen Wonder Woman wear a top like that. She's a little overweight. So it was recently radioed with many fans responding to the post, expressing their distaste and nothing that the character looked nothing like Wonder Woman. YouTuber That Star Wars Girl wrote, What the WTF? You know, among other things, Diana has blue eyes, not green, right? How the hell do you F up your own IP this bad? Former DC Comics artist Mike Miller shared a GIF of Gal Gadot and wrote, "This is Wonder Woman. Vatcha salt up there it isn't." And Stephen Wayne simply wrote, "That's not a superhero." Uh, Finos Nim added, "It looks like the gods revoked her beauty." Jax added that the color scheme is cool, but the proportion is greatly disrespect of the character. And trust me, there are women who detest this imagery just as men do when it comes to being upset. Sorry, tongue's not working again today. I got to go and get a new tongue. Obesity. Rooster Teeth tried, but surely took an L with this shit. LOL. Essenberg would respond to this criticism on Instagram. So she wrote, "So, due to the subject matter of my art, I am often asked to draw characters inspired by iconic women. Recently, I was asked to create a piece inspired by Wonder Woman in my own style for upcoming one-off artist collab." She went on to detail that the character seen on the variant cover was not supposed to be Wonder Woman, but an alien character wearing a Wonder Woman shirt. She explained, "I love drawing aliens with realistic body types, living their lives comfortably with themselves. So I drew an alien character with a realistic body wearing a more everyday version of a Wonder Woman outfit." Essenberg continued, "DC decided they wanted to use this piece for a variant cover in addition to the collab. I didn't realize that featuring a Wonder Woman inspired character with a realistic body type would be controversial. Apparently it is." DC posted their cover on Twitter, and it was immediately met with hundreds of comments hating on her body as well as the non-traditional art style. "And on me personally," she added. She wrote, "I think one of the reasons I was asked to do this that I'm not a traditional comic book artist, so I would present something from a different perspective." Essenberg then concluded, "The fact that this is so controversial, it makes me want to continue to draw diverse body types and create more art that people can hopefully see themselves in. Strength and beauty comes from lots of awesome forms. I don't think one form negates the other. These are my thoughts." And she would add, "Thank you very much for everyone for the kind words here. It really means a lot. For anyone who's upset by this drawing, I hope you continue to enjoy the art and comics you love." Finally, she concluded, "As a few of you wanted me to respond to your criticism, but I think you should reread my above statement. I was asked to draw a Wonder Woman-inspired character in my style for a separate collab. I drew this body type out of my many options. DC then also used it for a cover. The end." DC Comics editor Eddie Carrari oversaw the shutdown of the Vertigo Comics and is recently rumored to have been axed in a massive layoff affecting DC Comics. Decided to attack Eisenberg critics. He wrote, "Robin, I'm a DC editor. I love your work. The reaction to the Wonder Woman cover on Twitter was provoked by a small group of trolls and not representative of a larger, sophisticated, enthusiastic readerships have come to know." He added, "Your art is inspiring. Your response is wonderful." Eisenberg Instagram is filled with her art showing blue and green female alien creatures, many of them in much better shape than the character featured on the Rooster Teeth variant cover. You can see a sample from below. What do you make of Eisenberg's and Corari's response? Do you believe her explanation that the character is not supposed to be Wonder Woman, but just an alien winner in Wonder Woman's shirt? Yeah, it is crazy, Sean. Yeah, a lot of people lost their jobs. Yeah, maybe a lot of them will be doing some independent stuff, you know? Yeah, I really didn't like that. I did like from the neck up. I did like the drawing. Um, I really liked the stars in the hair. But everything below. Let me go back to that image. Yeah, that like the pair of jeans ripped. Um, I don't know. The only thing I like is just the neck up. I like the hair with the stars in it. I thought that was interesting looking. Um, I can't get into the rest. Um, yeah, it's just look the background. The background color is yeah, but I think she was trying to. I don't know. I think she meant to have this looking like Wonder Woman, and it just came out um, where people weren't happy with it. You know, I just I like the colors in the background. They're a nice shade of the looks like pink. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Patch on the wrong time turned out to be chameleon. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that one. Um, yeah. Let's go through here and see what we haven't got. Yeah, it hasn't been that much news. The only biggest thing has been the DC layoffs, and that Wonder Woman page. That's the only thing that I've seen lately. That's been big news. Now, I've been what have you been watching Stargirl? I watched the last episode. John Stempleton Jr. Was this the animated Spider-Man series that you're talking about? Yeah, if it was the animated series, I've probably seen it. I can't recall all the episodes. I watched every episode, and I did tape them down. Oops, I'm probably revealing to the copyright people now that I taped down the shows. I used to find that when I couldn't get home to watch it or something like that, well, animated stuff, I would watch at the time it was on. Um, Shows like The Flash that was on in the 90s. I would be working part-time jobs, so I wouldn't be able to get to watch these shows. So I just put the VCR on, record, and just record the show. So, see if I can find some nows here. I ended up getting a new tablet today. Now I've got two tablets now. I got one I can draw on the screen, and oh boy. Well, that's not good if they haven't paid you. How about Amazon? I know Amazon up here is hiring like crazy, Sean. I don't know what Amazon is like in Chicago. Maybe you can get some there, you know? But I grabbed this. This might be too big to see. No, I can turn around. This is what I got today from Amazon. I picked up. If you can see the little red light down by my microphone on the tablet, it's still charging. It's a wireless. So when I'm doing my coloring, I won't have to worry about cords and pulling out cords and stuff like that. I had to give up this. I've had this forever. I'm finding it shorting out every once in a while. So it's got to go into the. I don't know if this is a good idea to wrap that up. I think there's some kind of a short or something in the wire, because I hear a ding from my computer. So if anybody's interested in having it, still works. You can PM me on Facebook or send me a message through YouTube, and we can see about maybe letting it go to somebody else that can put some use to this. Oops, I'm knocking over things. And oh boy, yeah, you're in the suburbs. You don't want to be back in the city. Yeah, I know they pay fairly well up here. The only thing is, like, I go for the job. They want you to have a smartphone, either an iPhone or an Android, and I have this little or not black, but this little beauty, a Q5 BlackBerry. It's so out of date. I can't use it for. I can't download any new apps or anything like that with it. I used to have one for my bank, and they did some to the software, and or the app software, and my software wouldn't work anymore, and I couldn't download a new version of it. So for any new apps, it's not going to be good. You know, probably be crazy driving around back in the city there, Sean. Because imagine the traffic is probably nuts. Yeah. Well, I used to do some driving for a while for a used car lot, but it just I couldn't pick my hours. So and then sometimes they would send me to places that would be like 8-9 hours, and I'm getting to the point I can't drive 8 or 9 hours anywhere. So I just didn't like that. I've been laid off for a while, so got some new projects on the go. I think last time, if you're following me on Facebook, I'm redoing the North Shield. I've got an artist, Tyler, who's working on it. I think we've got up to page, I'm trying to think, page 12 or some. So, yeah, let me see. He sent me an invoice this morning. So I'm just going to check, see how many pages we're up to right now. He's doing some really great stuff. I'm going to try to learn how to ink digitally. So there we go. He has, let me see, he's just pages 7 and 8, and he's done 9 to 12 for me. So yeah, so he's we got 12 pages done. The original artist that worked on it, who was drawing it when I had it about 3 or 4 years ago, we're going to use his original artwork. So there'll be, I think, about 4 pages he did, and then we'll jump into the new artist. So I told the new artist to try to keep his style close, and the costume close too. So what kind of options do you have there for looking for work there, Sean? Do you have, well, I imagine you have a Indeed, right? Because that's what I use up here to look for work. So I don't know if you've checked that out. Oh yeah, and I've started to rewrite again lately. So my writing process, I've been writing out, like, I usually write out plot form, kind of like I think it's a Marvel way kind of thing. And then what I do is I go back over it again, and then I add dialogue into the script, so I make it like a movie script. So I add the exterior. Well, I try to do that when I'm typing the plot down. So when I come back, so I'm doing a time traveling story. You had to step away. I don't follow here. You had to step away from the computer. Did you check? What I said before was, did you check in Indeed? There's a website called Indeed. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's they post up job as like a job bank kind of thing. It's spelled INDEED. Indeed.com. Maybe you might be able to find something there. Now I'm looking at to get some programs. I'm looking at to get in Clip Studio. So I don't know if anybody's used Clip Studio. It's not a bad price Canadian. $67 Canadian. I tried the coloring. The coloring works really well for what I do. I do have Painter. What is it? Painter 12 I have. And I think it's a educational edition. The only thing is I find that it doesn't work on my laptop. It works differently on my desktop, which I'm using right now to do this broadcast. So I don't know why a program like my laptop has Windows 7, and my previous computer used I think it was Vista, and but it was so strange how the programs didn't work the same. There was a layer that I would use on my desktop that I could paint right on top of the black lines, and the black lines would come through the paint. But when I used it on a laptop, it didn't work that way. The colors would get into the black. So yeah, let me see if I can get a link for you, Sean. For maybe it might help you out. Okay, I haven't got it. So this is the link here, Sean. Well, that's CA, but you'll have to get rid of the CA. Just put Indeed.com. So have you been doing any writing there, Sean? So just gonna look for some stuff here. So here's some news here from Grant Morrison. Opens up on the Flash script he wrote with Ezra Miller. It's an obvious inspiration. Grant Morrison confirms the script for the Flash he co-wrote with star Ezra Miller was less a superhero tale and instead channeled Robert Zemeckis' 1985 cult classic Back to the Future. Morrison opened up to Collider about his and Miller's crack at the story, saying it was more like Back to the Future, I would say, than a superhero movie. Uh, Mentioned that they wrote it last year, Morrison spoke frankly about how much he liked the story that they came up with. Well, I thought we really had a good version of The Flash, and we wrote it as fast as The Flash because it was so demanding and it was pretty good. And I think after a few drafts, it would have been great. As pleased as he was, he feels that their script became a victim of the Flicko studio system, but the ways the way some studios work, these things just come and go. I think 15 people have already written versions of the Flash. He added the version going ahead is not using his and Miller's screenplay. This is something that most people already concluded. Morrison added further, he doesn't know what Warner Brothers is doing with it, his and Miller's script. Looking back, he reflected on writing the script. I had fun. He continued, Ezra came over to the house and we just had a real blast and created the story. And maybe one day the script will leak out into the world. If Reddit forum post to be believed, Morrison and Miller's script already has leaked out. A quasi-origin story, it is described as a starting out adventure with flashbacks to costume, making filling in the blanks. Flash Rogues, Mirror Master, Captain Cold, and Golden Glider would have teamed up as the primary threat. Omens of Reverse Flash were there, but he sits on the sidelines, never mentioned by name. Barry would be warned about time travel and the dangers of the Speed Force from J. Peter Garrett. The only time jump happens when Barry goes back to save Iris after she is gunned down in a crossfire. A plot twist is like a little like Back to the Future 1 and 2. This is where Marty and Doc jump back and forth between past, present, and future to fix things Biff does to the timeline, thanks to Marty and Gray's Sports Almanac. Reddit leaks are unverified, so they aren't proven to be concrete. Morrison didn't go into specifics, but peeled back the curtain on one of the tone he'd aimed for. He revealed his take wasn't as dark as Miller wanted, but bore elements of darkness. Morrison continued, "No, it wasn't what darker, really." He said, "I mean, elements of darkness were there, and the material they wanted us to use was for the Flashpoint stuff." Morrison added, they wanted people who didn't read comics to grasp the story. So Ezra and I actually trying to do something that was a bit more like, say, it's kind of like a great science fiction story. He continued, and if you didn't know the comics, it would have made sense. We don't know how much sense it would have made or how much it keeps from the comics, but Andy Massincelli's Flash, written by Christina Hudson, departs heavily from the crossover saga by Jeff Johns and Andy Kubert. The film won't have the Amazon Atlantean War subplot, as rumored. It should set the stage for the return of Ray Fisher's Cyborg, Joe Morton's Silas Stone, and Michael Keaton's Batman, all above, dragged into the multiverse. The Bruce Wayne, played by Keaton, might stick around the DC Extended Universe to train young heroes. That sure doesn't sound like the Flashpoint comics readers know, any more than Miller and Morrison's script. The Flash is stated for June 3rd, 2022 release. Yeah, well, it's kind of hard when you have that new medication. It causes you to shake. Kind of hard to hold a pencil and stuff. You just finished the graphic novel. What was the graphic novel, Sean? I've been reading a bunch of comic books lately. Um, I'm still waiting for some stuff from. I did get a couple from some campaigns I backed. Picked some stuff up from Amazon. Chris Barnes, he did a really wonderful book. Don't have it anywhere here in the studio, and I'm not going to step out of the room to get it. But he did a great graphic novel. I got a John Byrne Omnibus I want to read through. I've already read um, his Fantastic Four stuff because I have a lot of them in storage. But I like the Omnibus. I don't have to go through the white boxes and go, where are my books? So do you think this Flash movie there, Sean, do you think that is going to get made with the script of Miller's? And here's an old one here. The Flash fans accuse actress Danielle Panabaker of racism, call for her firing. This was done in June of 2020. Danielle Panabaker, along with other female stars of the CW family of live-action DC superheroes shows, have been accused by fans of the Arrowverse series of racism due to their knowledge of fanships that paired Barry Allen with anyone other than Iris West. On June 3rd, Twitter user at Soft Iris, Soft X Iris, authored a extensive multi-tweet claiming to reveal the untold truth of Danielle Panabaker and other undetermined Canis Patton. Beginning of the thread, the topic of Panabaker's alleged infractions at Soft X Iris claims that Panabaker has undermined the Iris West actress Canis Patton, a black woman, due to constant discussion with fans over the romantic pairing of her character, Caitlin Snow, with Allen. According to at Soft X Iris, the untold truth of Danielle Panabaker and others determined Kenneth Patton, a black woman, based on Panabaker's friendly interaction with fans, discussing the romantic pairing of her character, Caitlin Snow, with Allen, as well as moments where Panabaker did not explicitly guide the conversation to discuss Patton or her character, Iris West. For this next part, I'm going to show some quick excerpts from interview where Danielle was only mentioning Chanel as another woman who could be potentially a friend for Caitlin when there's been Iris since season 1, or even Linda. In an attempt to explain her position, well, I'll read what it says here. It says, I love that. Chanel is amazing. We're really, really, really lucky. The two biggest additions to our cast have been Chanel and Teddy Sears. They're both so wonderful. They truly feel like they belong on our show. That's been great. Chanel and I haven't actually worked together as of episode 6. My understanding that it will change. I don't know what context it is. Hopefully she'll come to Star Labs. Maybe the two girls can hang out. I think Caitlin needs some girlfriends. An attempt to explain her position at Soft X Iris argued that the Snowberry ship was created out of racial hate for Candace after she casted as Iris as a white character. The ship is largely rooted in a early plot line written for The Flash. A canon pairing between Caitlin and Barry was entertained during the show's early seasons, but was adamantly opposed by Grant Gustin, the Flash himself, who wanted to keep Barry's love life comic accurate. At Soft X Iris also leveled a direct accusation of racism towards Panabaker simply due because her post in a New York Times article discussed the effort of cancel culture, a brief romance relationship with Final Fantasy spirits within Kingdom's Heart voice and actor James Wood for addressing the death of George Floyd in a way that at Soft X Iris found personally unacceptable. Now we're going to move into her racist behavior. First, we're going to have to this tweet regarding an article many of her fans like to justify. But let me ask you this: if there's nothing racist about it, why did she delete it? The original tweet was racist, and she became a racist optionalist. Second, we have the fact she added a white supremacist. Second, we have fact that she dated a white supremacist again. A lot of her fans like to say that they didn't date or were on set. These photos were not on any set. Third, we're going to talk about the most recent event in which she was extremely tone deaf regarding the murder of George Floyd, posting about flowers and even cooking ads where Chris Wood would call her out. Following this, she posted more stories, which her fans saw through. Fourth, we're going to talk about the fact she deleted that first picture barely an hour after posting it. Something that was pointed out was the artwork made by a black woman. The post of George she posted, and she also disabled the comments, knowing she'd be called out. Aside from Panabaker, at Soft X Iris described her female CW verse stars of also engaging in racial behavior, similar to citing outlandish installations from innocent discussions between actresses, fans, and other cast members about the respective characters being shipped with Barry Allen. These accused included Chanel Van Santen, who played Barry's season 2 love interest, Patty Spitoff, who jokingly played the popular F. Mary Kill game from the perspective of her character. Now, per the title, I was going to include others. So let's talk about Chanel Van Santen, the first example. Her blatant statement of her character, whom is known as Police Brutality Patty, said she would kill Iris, a black woman, so Patty could have Barry. Kathy Lutz, better known as Black and later White Canary on Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow, was accused, based on her defense of Panabaker, against allegations that she was erasing the role of Patton in the work of Sheathatory, an online global collective that provides a positive space for CIS women, trans women, and genderqueer women and non-binary people who are specifically female identified to discuss and conquer the unique challenges of the female experience in today's world, founded by Lutz, Patton, and several of their CW-verse co-stars. Moving on to Kathy Lutz, over the past couple of years, it's become clear she and Candace have drifted, and Candace have drifted from Sheathatory. Now, Candace has gotten much better, has gotten much hate, and no one, not even Kathy, had stuck her up. However, she jumped at the chance to defend Danelle. And Arrow star Emily Brett Brickett on the grounds that she did not mention Iris directly when discussing the friendship of her character Felicity Smoke. And lastly, we're going to talk about Emily Brett Richards. Despite the friendship between Iris and Felicity being quite popular, Emily only talked about Caitlin and Patty. Patty, who is a character Emily or Felicity ever met. Felicity has been friends with Iris ever since season 1. Despite the numerous claims, even more questionable conclusions and logic found nearly 50 tweets long threads at Soft X Iris, criticisms were retweeted over 2,000 times and received a resounding praise from the fans of Patton. The accusation of racism, coupled with the recent firing of her Flash co-star Hartley Sawyer due to recently uncovered mildly offensive tweets, quickly served as the basis for calls for members of the Iris West fandom to the CW to fire Pan Baker from the show. So, what do you think of that? Oops. Sorry, I'm missing stuff. Oh, your work at Clerks Meets Americans. Oh yeah, okay, you're writing stuff. Sorry about that, Sean. Yeah, they definitely do need to fix up mistakes in the Justice League. Flashpoint is supposed to do that, isn't it? Well, I heard it was supposed to be Thomas Wayne Batman and Flashman, but there's so much stuff going on with AT&T there. With the with them closing off DC Comics, or not closing off, but laying off people. So yeah, just looking at some stuff here, Stargirls. We'll just keep. Sorry, I got to keep with the Flashpoint stuff. I don't even know if is Miller going to be still. Ezra still going to be still the Flash, because there was a talk of getting rid of him for what he did to a fan a while back. So yeah, so they have to. I think what they should have done with instead of when they made the decision to do Justice League, what they should have done was did movies like the Marvel did, like Marvel introducing all these characters separately and then bring them together. The only one they couldn't do a movie about was the Hulk, because they don't have the rights for the Hulk. But this is what DC should do: is do all these separate movies. Like Aquaman was, I liked it and I didn't like it. Yeah, the Shazam I really liked. It was a fun movie. They could have. I think they could have added some more money into it. But I think their direction should be just individual movies. Just introduce these characters and then bring them together into the bigger, maybe add some stuff then that could understandable, bring them together, And talking about Flashpoint, I'm in the middle of writing that time story myself, a time travel story. I'm looking at it. It is very complicated to do. And what I'm doing is I'm doing stuff in the past for one story, and I got to do research on it. I can't find the research I need to do it. The storyline is around 680 AD. Yeah, Shazam was good, Sean. Yeah. I like Zach. He was really good in it. Those kids were good. There was a lot of good comedy in that. It was a little scary with Dr. Savannah. And there was a lot of Easter eggs for the next movie. Wonder Woman was really good. I really, really liked Wonder Woman. That's a movie. Wonder Woman, that first Wonder Woman movie, I could watch over probably about a half a dozen times without getting sick of that movie. I could do that with Shazam. Wonder Woman, that first Wonder Woman was more like the Superman movie with Christopher Reeves. Like Wonder Woman in Justice League seems to be a completely different character altogether from her own movie. So did you you said that with the job you're doing, you're not getting to see too many shows. Were you able to see the Stargirl season final? There was a lot of Easter eggs in that last episode. I was quite impressed by it. Now, it's supposed to be going to the CW next year, or whenever we get out of this pandemic. So I don't think it's going to look as good. I think we've talked about this before. But I like to see them just do the same productions they're doing now, because that last episode just was really, 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 really well done. And then the last bit at the end was just shocking. So the acting was well done. I'm still kind of on the fence about Dr. Midnight. I'm not really fussy about the actress who's playing Dr. Midnight. She just it's the goggles that do everything for her. And she it's like she can't think for herself kind of thing, And it says here at the bottom of this article I'm looking at, it talks about the Stargirl returns for season 2 as CW exclusive, which could mean its budget as well as quality could get slashed. So that's the one thing that's going to happen to Stargirl season 2 is the quality is going to get slashed and its budget. So, a lot of characters are going to probably leave because they don't have the budget to hold them, like Courtney's mother. I'm so impressed that they look so much alike. they look like they could be mother and daughter. Okay. Well, nice for you dropping in, Sean. I'm going to be calling the podcast. I'm going to close it soon. So yeah, let me know when it's finished. I like to know about it. Yeah. Let me know when it's available that we can watch it. If you want to come on sometime, Sean, onto the show, if you got a camera and talk about it sometime, let me know. Just send me a message on Facebook and we'll set up a time. I'd like to get a few more guests on the show. So if you want to come in and you get it done, you want to promote it and stuff. I'm sure I got a few watchers on the channel that will probably help. All right. So good luck with that, and thanks for coming in. So I'm gonna end the broadcast. I'm gonna make sure I'll be in tomorrow. So catch me around tomorrow. Okay. Everyone, take care. Bye bye.